So Peter, welcome back to our studio.
Thank you, Beth, for
And
having
welcome
us.
Sherry and Ryan. Great to have you guys
Thank
here.
you.
So it was important to me, I wanted to talk to you folks because something that really struck me about this film was the incredible level of authenticity, the beauty of the film, and both storylines. You know, are we losing you already? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
I will snap out of it.
Okay. I of course wanted to start with you because I know you're anxious to get rolling with the questions,
Sure.
as always. I wanted to ask, you know, when you think about the wonderful cast of this film, you know, what leapt out to you for, you know, each of these actors? You don't have to go through every single one, but, you know, talk about a few of the actors and what made you all think, yep, that's the right person for this role? What drew you in?
I mean, a lot of that role fell to our casting director
Yeah.
and James with his relationship
Yeah.
with the people we worked with.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, as we moved along and having Zach and Greer as lead roles, you know, when we first started working, the pre-shoot and the pre-filming week in Maine, you know, right away I knew things were going to go well.
Yeah.
And, you know, the cast and crew, everything melded together and everyone was working and in harmony. There was no conflict.
Yeah.
And, you know, that might be a better question for James, but I'll do what I
watching
can.
them work though, were you taken aback right away by how things were coalescing?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was very apprehensive at first, but after a couple of days,
Yes,
you
you
know,
That is true.
I was like, wow. Not only do these guys know what they're doing,
Yeah.
but they are executing incredible. And I think I got the first hint of that when we were doing our table reads at Somerset. So I'll give them a little plug. So
Yeah.
you know, those guys were instrumental in giving us a place to work.
Sure.
And so yeah. There, that's my answer for that.
All right. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not surprised by that answer. Did you immediately recognize, you know, in reading the book, you know, the screenplay, did you immediately recognize the need to absolutely ensure authenticity with the storylines that you were dealing with?
No, no question. And part of that was when I was reading the book and reading the screenplay, which I actually like the screenplay better than the book. But
I'll go get Kay.
okay. But
She wrote them both.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's not a problem.
as I was reading it, I was like, oh, I know that place. You know, I hear that surf.
Yeah.
I see those boats.
Yeah.
You know, I smell the air. You know, I smell the salt and the seaweed, and it was just like, yeah, I know those spots, and you know, it's really easy to identify with.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know, we were told we could recreate it elsewhere, but without these guys
Yeah.
jumping in.
Yeah.
And providing the support and the boats, it wouldn't have been possible elsewhere.
Well, and thank heavens you had them, and that's exactly what I want to get to. You know, I don't know if, you know, being movie producers or movie consultants was on your original lifetime bingo cards, but
Right.
yet here we are.
Yes.
And obviously we've heard multiple people say it couldn't have been done without you. So, you know, how and why did you want to become so deeply involved in this production? Yeah.
Well, Kaylee being a very, very dear friend of ours, and
Yeah.
we knew the book, she came to us and wanted to get the definite authenticity of Maine and how to create that. And so she came to Ryan and I, we spoke about it, and anything that's a challenge that has to do with Maine fishing and lobstering, we are all for. So we jumped on that opportunity as quickly as we possibly could.
Yeah.
And it has just been an amazing ride. And did I ever see ourselves doing that? Never, but it was one of the most incredible things that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
For sure.
And, you know, now having seen the end product, you know, how are you feeling
Well,
right now? Yeah.
Kay, we worked together for a while.
Yeah.
When she wrote her book, this is what when she wrote her book, I had a educational DVD called Maine Buggin', and we went around the whole state, and she wrote it. She would read a chapter. I would show a chapter of my book. And then, this was years ago, and I've produced another movie before, so I know kind of the behind the scenes part of that, but when she says, hey, they want to make it into a movie, will you help? And I knew what that entailed.
Yeah.
And so it was quite a sacrifice.
Yeah.
But the end result is just worth every bit of it.
You know, Zach, in our interview earlier this week, Zach said he literally couldn't have done what he did on camera without your help. So I wanted to talk, and both of you,
Yes.
you know, both Greer and Zach said this would never have happened if they hadn't have had someone to really show them not just the ins and outs, but the minutia
Correct.
of the movements and everything that you do on a boat to make sure that nothing looked
Well, that was
like
the
it,
biggest
like
thing.
it wasn't
that,
exact.
that-
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for me. We're not going to make us look foolish, right? And
Yeah.
he's a generational fisherman like myself. I'm a fourth generation. So he needed to look his part.
Yeah.
And fortunately, he was a quick learner. And Peter, we were on the Antares initially, and we just went out and just went through the rhythms. And he was judging. He goes, nope, not good. Do it again. Go. Do it again. Do
Yes.
it again.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, Zach just got it down, right? And that was my biggest thing was needs to look real.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, nothing. Really, I don't think anything
And the
about
accents
the
are
movie
one
would
thing.
work. Yeah.
It's just the rhythm of being on a boat.
Yeah.
And if you're going to portray a generational fisherman, it has to be just subconscious
Absolutely.
reaction. You
Yeah.
don't even think about it.
Yep, no, that's true, and that definitely came through. You know, they both said you were great teachers. That you would go back and look at video and just scrutinize everything. Like, nope, we got to go back out and do this. Nope, we got to go back out and do
It was
that.
about
So,
the
so there
outfits,
there
too,
was
you
real
know.
dedication.
That's
to that.
right.
Yeah.
Greer as well, when she was on the boat, and we were training her how to actually handle lobsters and whatnot. And she was a little apprehensive at first, but then she really, I mean, she went gung-ho and really got into her character as well. So we did do several takes, but we all wanted it to be perfect, and they were just fantastic, very quick learners. And
It was great to see
yes,
them feel
wonderful.
confident and be like, wow,
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yes.
And being really apprehensive just for handling a lobster. And then all of a
Sure.
sudden it's just boom, boom, and baiting bags and putting it on and setting the trap. And I'm like,
That had to be
Right
a great
on.
source of pride for both
It was-
of you to
it was
watch that just
wonderful.
over the course of a few days, see that change, that evolution.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
It was
Yeah.
wonderful, and and the comfort level of both of the actors on the boat was incredible. Once we went through a few scenes and whatnot, and how to do things, everything was more relaxed and it was easy. And then they kept practicing it on their own, and they'd be talking on the side and whatnot, how to do this or whatever. They were just fantastic.
and people
Yeah.
need to understand too, Zach and Greer were on the boat by themselves in some scenes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
without anybody there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were right nearby, but Zach's running the boat.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
his boat.
Yeah.
He did it.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
The two storylines work in tandem, so beautifully. There's this wonderful little kind of dance. They sort of dance around each other, sort of the whole film, which was great to see. There was a great balance there. The other storyline I'm talking about, of course, is sort of, there's obviously very deep-seated conflict just within the community. Families that don't get along, who have
Yes.
actually sabotaged each other in the past. I don't know how much people realize that actually goes on. So talk a little bit about that storyline as well and integrating
people
that.
need to understand the lobster industry is family. It's very generational family. The only way you get into it is through family.
Yeah.
So you see the conflict with the characters, but the conflict was actually with the elders,
Yeah.
not really with like, I didn't cut your lines.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
The younger
It was the
generations.
outsider.
And that idea that you would have a dialogue and
That's
that there
right.
would be any integrity to that dialogue, that you would expect someone to tell you.
And
if
I
they
hope
cut
that
your
it
lines.
shows
Yeah.
the movie-going audience that of the power of the family and the generations coming down.
Yeah.
And his father handed that down to him.
Yeah.
And it's just a beautiful, when you put it all together, it's beautiful.
It is. It really was. It's like there's a code of ethics.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
like
There is a code.
There is a code that goes on out there.
And there's unwritten rules. There's imaginary lines.
There
Yeah.
are.
And people need to understand, like, when lobster wasn't even a commodity, you know, my family went out and with a gentleman's agreement and said, all right, this is going to be our territory. I fish a private berth. My family, we own an island. So, you know, put this lighthouse over this rock. And that rock and that lighthouse don't move.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere. So it's this unwritten handshake, and it's handed down. And a lot of people think the grass is greener on the other side,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And so that's the best part about it, actually, is defending your bottom.
It is. It is.
But to say, historically speaking, in the 90s, the lobster wars were going on.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there is that.
Without a
very-
doubt.
Yeah.
It's
so,
true.
So it's real, and there are some news stories with
Yeah.
lobstermen shooting each other and
That's right.
fighting
And
over
that is still
traps.
very
So-
real.
And the characters are so vivid, and again, impeccable casting there. You know, the actor who plays Dale Fogarty really had that balance of sort of, you know,
Billy Wirth, yeah.
Yes.
maniacally defending
Yeah.
his territory,
Yes.
but at
Yeah.
the same time, when he's speaking to Jamie, he's being very real with him. I have never cut you personally.
That's right.
Yeah. So
That's
there
right.
are lines to be drawn even within those family
The
conflicts.
conflict was
yeah.
between your father and my
Yeah. That's
right.
gramps,
Yeah.
not between you and I.
Yeah.
That's
and then
right.
of course the outsider.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that happens too.
Yeah.
And the end result was the end result. Didn't work out very well for him.
No, it didn't. And we'll leave it there because I don't want to spoil anything. But, you know, there is, you know, in the reporting I've done with the lobster industry, there is a lot of fear, especially with the idea of ropeless fishing, that the only entities that
Oh,
will
goodness.
be able to afford ropeless fishing are large conglomerates who are going to
Yeah.
come in with
That is
big
correct.
commercial boats and big
Yeah.
corporate backing
Right.
and run the families out of the water, because who can afford that type
That's
of gear,
right.
and would it even work on the bottom of the Gulf of
Correct.
Maine? Most people contend it would not.
That's
It-
correct.
Yeah.
It's not
That
going
is
to work.
correct.
And what's happening right now is there are 5,000 individual fishermen and their families, and it's really hard to unite all these people.
Oh, yeah.
We are uniting now,
Okay.
and we're going to say that's not going to happen. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
And when we decide as a group, as a family,
Yeah.
we're not doing it, it's not going to happen.
How incredible is it that that unity is actually happening
Right now,
you
as we
know,
speak.
as we speak?
And this movie
yeah.
will bring that together more.
Yeah, we hope. We hope,
Yeah.
because there's a lot to protect there.
There is.
And finally, I just want to talk about, you know, both storylines are kind of a little open-ended. We don't know exactly what happens to Anya and Jamie. There, you know, there's something inferred, and we know that it's going to continue to be extremely difficult, but we don't really know. And with the, you know, with the family conflicts,
Maybe
you
there's
get,
another one.
you get a
Maybe
few
there's
nuggets,
another
but
one.
that's probably not stopping
not
anytime
sure.
soon either. So
That's
it's
Maybe there's a
right.
prequel
Yeah.
coming. Who
That's
knows?
right.
There could be a sequel.
And that
That's
definitely was
right.
that definitely was a choice, because the bottom line is that difficulty doesn't end, and often conflict doesn't end. So was that a
Right.
conscious choice that both storylines kind of ended, but like didn't?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just generally speaking that, you know, life doesn't stop at the end, at the beginning of the credits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things go on. There is another day. There is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we left it like that. We wanted people to know that it's not always a happy ending. And
Yeah.
what I've said in several times is, you know, we didn't save the world. We didn't get the treasure.
Yeah.
And Zach doesn't get the girl all the time. But maybe.
Well, maybe.
To be continued, maybe.
To be
That's
continued.
right.
Yeah.